Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're here with part 2 of our F1 2021 My Team career mode, getting ready for the Spanish Grand Prix. Last time out we raced at Bahrain and unfortunately it looked like we were going to get some points maybe, but yeah, sadly we had an engine issue and some sort of other issue with the car, and the car just wasn't handling as we would have liked and had to end up retiring from the Grand Prix with just a few laps to go. So hopefully this time around we can have a bit of better luck, maybe have a bit more pace. We've got some upgrades coming on the car for this time. You can see here just working through activity timeline at the moment, getting everything to fit pretty nicely there, except for vehicle PR filming. We couldn't fit that in, but I'm pretty happy with everything we managed to get. You can see now, just scrolling through all of our different factories and facilities, just having a look at what we can upgrade, because we have over $1 million here, but I found the only thing we could upgrade was the quality control here for durability. Everything else is too expensive, so we're definitely going to have to wait for some more money. I think I'm going to try and go for performance before upgrade. You can see there I can do personnel. I couldn't do anything in marketing, but I'm definitely going to go for the car before I go for personnel and marketing and stuff, I think. Because I feel like once we can get the car to a position where we can be scoring points, then it'll be a bit easier to get the money in and we can go for stuff in those other areas. But you can see also looking through upgrades, we have 983 resource points, but unfortunately we have already too many things going here in aero. Same for chassis. There's just not a lot that we can upgrade. You can see engine as well. We've just got a lot of things, although actually we do have here a minor fuel efficiency upgrade that we're going to have in, and it's actually going to come in before the Spanish Grand Prix. There's a lot of time between Bahrain and Spain race. Obviously Imola's not in this game yet, so that just kind of doesn't exist in this first season of career mode. Same with Portugal. So yeah, there's a lot of time between these two races. You can see durability. We're not able to upgrade anything. We've actually done as many upgrades as we can other than this one gearbox, but we unfortunately don't have the resource points to be doing it. You can see it requires 500 points. We only have 408. But yeah, I definitely want to be getting these facilities upgraded so that we can be doing more upgrades to the car, because at the moment we're kind of locked out of that. You can see here getting a department event here. You can see durability departments found something and they want to get Matsushita to test it. And if we agree to this, we're going to get a 10% discount, but he'll lose 5 racecraft. So in the end, I decided to just decline that because I feel like the racecraft will be more beneficial. That gearbox improved materials part, it's only 50 points. 50 points isn't really too big of a concern. So yeah, I decided to decline that and keep the racecraft. It'll benefit us better in the long run there, you can see. We're just trying to progress through time here. You can see fund a team event, getting some extra stuff. Weekly resources gives us some more points, so now we have 520 points. You can see, unfortunately, failing a rear floor under tray upgrade there in the chassis department. It would have been nice to get that in because the car really doesn't feel too great. You can see we do get an upgrade, but yeah, there's also a failed upgrade. So we got 50% of what we go after. Unfortunately, I don't have enough points to get it going again, because there was a durability upgrade that also failed, so I spent time on that. I cut that out because it was just in a bad spot. But yeah, you can see getting some more points in now, but still not really enough to be doing anything. But you can see season break now, because of how long the gap is between races. I guess the game decided to just throw a season break in. But you can see cutting straight through to after the season break. You can see we get a marketing thing, and for 20 grand we can get an extra 375 resource points. So I just straight away, without even thinking, just did that. 20 grand's not a lot of money in this world, but it does give us enough points to repurchase that failed upgrade that we had. So that'll actually still come in before the Spanish Grand Prix. That's how much of a gap there is between those races. So yeah, definitely, I think that was definitely worth it, 20 grand for that. You can see getting another 2 upgrades in, getting some more running costs and what else. And you can see in durability department, and we can get an extra 20% durability for 50 grand. And yeah, we decided to take that as well. Those 10s, 20s, 50 grand, it's really not that much of the grand scheme of thing. You can see just getting 200 grand there after 1 week. So I think we can afford it at this point. yeah, you can see getting some more upgrades. That upgrade did come in there, the rear floor under tray, so that'll help with that weight distribution. And yeah, we can see we got the weight reduction upgrade as well. Also getting an aerodynamic upgrade. So you can see we got a lot of upgrades coming in. There was also an engine fuel efficiency upgrade came in, you can see there. And also an engine power upgrade. So yeah, we've made a lot of upgrades between round 1 and round 2, so hopefully that can propel us further up the order. And maybe get us closer to points. We were already pretty close to points before we had our issues last time out in Bahrain, so hopefully this time out we might actually be able to do it. I'm feeling pretty confident about it, but you can see, unfortunately, failing that durability gearbox upgrade there, and it's definitely too close to the weekend to be getting that in before Spain. You can see we do have enough points to repurchase it, so we do, but it's gonna come in after the Spanish Grand Prix, and it will come in for Monaco. But that's it. That's all the admin work done for this episode, and it's time to move on to the Spanish Grand Prix. So here we are, we've now moved on to the Spanish Grand Prix weekend. You can see, having a look at the R&D progress, even though we've made all those upgrades, we haven't really gone anywhere. You can see it's actually closed up a little bit between ourselves and Alfa Romeo, and we haven't closed in on anyone in front of us because everyone has made a bunch of upgrades. You can see the biggest winners, though, Alpine and Ferrari, have made massive amounts of upgrades heading into this round. As Ferrari have closed right up to McLaren and Aston Martin there in that battle for the third place constructor, and Alpine pulling a bit away from Alpha Tauri, and nothing's really happened too much behind us. Haas and Williams have slightly swapped positions, but they're still basically right on top of each other. But yeah, I was really hoping we might have moved up at least ahead of Alpha Tauri heading into this round, but I guess when we set our custom settings at the start of the season, we did make it very hard on ourselves, giving ourselves less resource points and the AI more resource points. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a big challenge. We're going to have to pull through some pretty good results, I'm thinking, if we want to be getting the resource points and the sponsorship money that we need to be closing in on those guys in front of us. But that's really all for that before we head into first practice. And this time around for first practice, and for all the practice sessions, I decided to go with quick practice. We're going to be using this for the rest of the season. We used normal practice to begin with in the first round, just to kind of have a look at what's different. But this is a lot of fun, this little mini game. You basically just have to choose which of the objectives you're going to do throughout the practice session, and they have different time lengths and different success rates. And they give you different bonuses, so you've got to try and manage that and fit as much as you can into a single session. For this first attempt here for the Spanish Grand Prix, I'll say it didn't go completely well. I failed a lot, even on the bigger success ones like the 70% and 50%. They didn't turn out too well in my favour. You can see a lot of red. I did get some stuff. I got about halfway through all of the practice program stuff. It would have been nice to move a bit further, but yeah, it was definitely different. I think it's very enjoyable, especially after playing this game for so many years and all the previous iterations. Practice can start dragging on for a bit too. So yeah, definitely a nice addition. You can see driver acclaim nearly level 2, team acclaim going up to level 3, but that is all for now. We're going to move straight on to qualifying. So here we are, jumping straight into our first qualifying lap here in Spain. You can see, struggling a little bit with downforce. I do change the setup a little bit after this first quali run to add a little bit more to the front of the car, and you can see it's not going to be a great lap. Just through the second sector, we were a 10th off of Latifi, who's now in 20th, and as we cross the line, we're going to go to 21st, but only for a second, as someone else goes even faster than us, and we drop down to 22nd last on pace out of everyone. You can see we've got Matsushita out front, but he's on a quali lap, so unlike Bahrain last time, he's not going to be slowing down and giving us a bit of a tow, but you can already see 6 tenths up as we head into Sector 3. We're about a 10th up on Giovinazzi, so it's going to be very tight on getting through to Q2 like we did last time. But you can see as we head around the last corner, we're a second up on our last lap time. As we cross the line, we go P16, and just like last time out in Bahrain, we just squeezed through into Q2 by 1 position. So yeah, getting very close there to the edge, and you can see it is very close. You can see an identical time to Kimi Räikkönen there. Both of us getting a minute 16.690. I must have just said it just before Räikkönen because that was right at the end of the session. So yeah, that's insanely close. That's how close it is between us getting through to Q2 and how close it is to us going out. But you can see, we just like last time, only enough sets of tyres to do one flying lap here in Q2. Not that we're ever going to get through Q3 at this point. So really this is about trying to beat Schumacher, and that's really it because we don't have the pace of anyone else. So it's really not that meaningful of a session. I guess we have to do an extra lap and kind of get an idea of the car setup. You can see really pushing and actually getting our left hand side of the car on the gravel. But as we come through to cross the line, it's not a very good lap at all, and it's going to be P16. Unfortunately, Schumacher beating us out there. Would have been nice to beat him there. But yeah, you can see Lando Norris actually going fastest, but a lot of those guys that did make it into Q3 on the medium tyre, so it's going to be interesting to see the strategy of those guys that are on the softs, because they're definitely going to have to do a two-stop. Well, the rest of us, I think it's going to be a pretty cut and dry one stop there. Just from the mediums to hards, but you can see we do beat out Nikita Mazepin in our first session as a rivals, and that gives us an extra 1,000 acclaim, which will help the team acclaim and also our driver acclaim. So that's good there. Hope we know we need to get to level 5. That'll get us an extra sponsor. But yeah, that's really it. Moving straight on to the race.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya then, a high-speed 2.89-mile circuit which demands an efficient downforce package and bravery on the part of the driver, especially through the blind right of turn 9, which we might just see taken flat this weekend. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1, so how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap, so always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Norris, Sergio Perez and Leclerc, Sainz, Vettel, Stroll and Pierre Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Max Verstappen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Benjamin, Kimi Räikkönen and Antonio Giovinazzi, Matsushita, Russell, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Right, so here we are on the grid for the Spanish Grand Prix. You can see, as I said before in qualifying, it's just going to be a one stop from mediums to hards. Only giving ourselves about half a lap of extra fuel just to make sure we don't burn in too much. But yeah, there really wasn't too much to be looking at. So we're going to go to 5 red lights and we're off for the Spanish Grand Prix. You can see it's a pretty good launch, but then just not quite able to get the power down as I would have liked. And Schumacher is able to pull ahead, but we do stay in P16 ahead of everyone else. You can see, looking to the outside, we are able to go real deep on the brakes. We're ahead of Schumacher. We're side by side with Max Verstappen, who had some sort of penalty heading into this race. He is right down the order and trying to hold it around the outside of turn 3, and we do actually pull the move off on the Red Bull there. I'm sure he'll be able to get through pretty soon, but to have the position is pretty nice. You can see having a check right up there to make sure we don't smash into the back of Yuki Tsunoda in this big battle pack here. And you can see as we head into turn 5, just diving it down the inside. You don't know what's going to happen in this race, so got to make the most of every opportunity. And we get through to P13, so overall a pretty good first half lap. You can see Verstappen comes back at us down the inside, but we do hold position there. I wasn't really meant to. I kind of don't want him to be behind me because he's just going to slow me down. But yeah, you can see just moving over to the side here, and Verstappen's easily, not even backing out of it, he's just able to easily make the move on us there. Going nice and wide to make sure he's through, and Tsunoda trying to come back but not quite able to. But you can see as we head through the right-hander here, there's a yellow flag for an incident behind, and it looks like it was from Tsunoda because you can see the gap getting massively larger there, and you can see Schumacher and Raikkonen through, so definitely something's happened with Tsunoda through that right-hander, but it's given us a massive gap to the cars behind. And we are kind of sticking with this pack ahead, but I'm sure as the race moves on, they'll all be able to pull away from us. You can see we head on to lap 2 here, and we have about 2.8 seconds back to Schumacher, which is a pretty nice gap to have. And it is almost a second up to Verstappen up ahead, and I imagine he's going to be working his way through the pack, so it might be a bit difficult to keep up with him. But you can see as we head through turn 3, there's a yellow flag, so there's been some sort of other incident. Now we're going to have just a quick replay, and we're going to have a look back at what happened to Yuki Tsunoda first. You can see there's us just ahead, letting Verstappen through, and he tries to go for the dive. And as we head through the left-hander, he just loses the car and spins out in front of the Haas of Mick Schumacher. And you can see Raikkonen and Giovinazzi and all those guys there getting caught behind, so that's why we were able to get such a gap. Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Yuki. You can see he takes out the bollard there as he rejoins the track. But having a look at what happened at turn 1 here, and it was actually our teammate Nobuharu Matsushita. As he heads through the corner, he just gets on the curb and just loses it and just spins and actually makes contact with Russell there, and there's a bit of debris on turn 2 there, so that's a shame there for our teammate. You can see as we do the same thing as we did in qualifying, just running it a bit wide, but the gap to Alonso now is over 1 second. You can see we actually pull into 9/10 as we head through this section here, just in the big train, and we have pulled out about half a second to Schumacher behind actually, so at the moment it's going well. You can see the end of lap 5, about to head on to lap 6 here as we head through the last couple corners. We are actually within DRS of the train ahead, so we might have the pace to just kind of keep up with these guys. If we can do that, then points could very well be on the table. I believe it's Lance Stroll at the front of this pack, and actually my engineer did tell me just about a lap earlier that he was having some sort of issue, so maybe that's why we're keeping up with the pack as well as we did. You can see someone there in front getting ahead, and as we head on towards the end of lap 6, getting very close to the back of Alonso as cars are moving through, and there's definitely something wrong with Lance Stroll here. You can see he's really holding us up, and it's helping me keep with this pack, and the cars behind, we actually aren't really gaining anymore as I'm caught in behind Alonso here. You can see once again getting very close to making contact to the back of the Spaniard, and Stroll pulls into the pit lane here. But I do believe that is a scheduled pit stop. You can see actually getting a bit caught out and dirty out there. But you can also see we have Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc in the pit lane making their first pit stop. So those guys are qualified in the top 10 and went on the soft tyres. They're very far behind now. As you can see, we come on end of lap 7 onto lap number 8. We've got a few more cars there of Vettel and Sainz. I believe that is all the guys that started on the soft tyres making their first pit stop. But you can see Alonso ahead has been able to really pull away now that Lance Stroll isn't holding him up, and Verstappen has really pulled away. You can see he's got 3 seconds to us there in basically a lap since Stroll pulled into the pit lane. So yeah, we definitely don't have the pace of the cars ahead, but we are maintaining the gap to the cars behind there of Schumacher and Raikkonen. So yeah, that's certainly a positive. But you can see as we head towards the end of lap 11 now, heading towards lap 12, Lando Norris has already caught right up to the back of us, so that shows the pace difference. I guess they're on fresh mediums compared to my old mediums, as well as just having a much better car. But you can see using overtake mode there, and I've just got nothing for Norris there, as he just blasts through with that Mercedes power unit, much better than our Renault power unit at the moment. There's definitely straight line speed seems to be somewhere we're going to have to work on. As you can see, Charles Leclerc really closing up to the back of us here on lap 14 as we head into turn 1. He's backed out of it, and then he goes for a last second dive and dives down the inside, so we're going to have to catch a replay of that. And you can see he does slow right down and kind of back out of it, and then the last second as I'm turning in, he just goes in, climbs over the curb and spins himself out. So I don't really know what was going on there. He was in a massive hurry, but the looks of things, you can see we can have a look at Sebastian Vettel's view, because he was caught up in this as well. You can see last second Leclerc just goes for a dive, climbs over the curb, and yeah, as he spins, Vettel gets caught out. So Sainz was lucky to not get caught up in that. He was right behind us as we head in for our first pit stop at the end of lap 14 here. And so far this is going better than Bahrain. We haven't had our engineer come over the radio to tell us that we have some sort of mechanical issue, which is what happened on the lap that we pit last time. So yeah, so far things are looking pretty positive. I think we're in a pretty good position. And as bad as that crash was, already controversy here in round 2, it is going to you know, maybe give us those extra couple of positions we need to get into points here. As you can see, coming out of the pit lane, we're on P17 at the moment. The first car out of everyone here to pit onto the hards by the looks of things. And you can see now, coming to the end of lap 17, actually Verstappen's on the hards as well, so a lot of those guys coming in. But you can see here, Lewis Hamilton retires from the Grand Prix. He was leading the race by a pretty considerable margin, so that is huge shock there. Mercedes having another car retiring. You can see we're going to have a look at a replay here. He'd actually already overlapped Matsushita, but you can see as he heads through turn 2 here, he just slows right down, and it looks to be the exact same carbon copy issue to what happened to Valtteri Bottas, his teammate, last time out of Bahrain. So yeah, Mercedes having a lot of issues here at the start of this first season. You can see Hamilton pulls off to the side to make sure he doesn't get in the way of those cars coming up behind him, but Mercedes certainly have a lot to think about and to work out before next round of Monaco, because now they've had 2 races where one of their cars has had that exact issue. So that's very uncommon to see Mercedes having problems like that. But you can see we head on to lap 21 now. You can see Leclerc in the pit lane, and he's actually way behind us, so he's definitely been struggling. I don't know if maybe he had a bit of damage and he just didn't pit for it, but we've got a massive gap to him. And you can see now as we head towards the end of lap 21, we're going on to lap 22. We have Carlos Sainz has already come out of the pit lane. Remember, before our pit stop, he was right behind us, and now he's 13 seconds ahead. So that shows the difference in the pace between us and the Ferrari. So I imagine this isn't the last we've seen of Leclerc, because if you look at the minimap there at the bottom, he's already right behind Raikkonen and Schumacher, only a couple seconds behind us. So yeah, we definitely can't just sit around and wait. We've still got about 11 laps left of this Grand Prix. So yeah, we're in P10 at the moment. We're in a point position, but we've got some very fast cars coming behind, because Sebastian Vettel isn't too far off of these guys either. So that's definitely something to think about. But you can see just 2 laps later, end of lap 23, onto lap 24, Leclerc is already right behind us. He's going to go to the outside, trying to force him out there, trying to keep position. We're going to dive down the inside of turn 1. Are we able to hold it? We're going to have the outside for turn 2. We're going to have the inside for turn 3 now as we go through this big switchback section. Staying side by side with the Ferrari, definitely longer than I thought we were going to. He's got a faster car and better tyres. He's going to have the inside for turn 4 now. This is just allowing Schumacher and Raikkonen to close in behind us. They were able to use Leclerc's slipstream and DRS to kind of close in. You can see as we head through turn 5, I don't really have anything to answer for Leclerc there, and that drops us down to P11 and out of the points. So that's a massive shame there. By the looks of things, we're not going to be getting any points this time around. But definitely close, pretty promising. You see now we have, actually that's Lance Stroll behind us. I'm not sure where Sebastian Vettel is, but Stroll certainly seems to have gotten over whatever mechanical issue he was having this race. And as we head down to turn 1, you can see Stroll actually bides his time and waits, unlike Leclerc did last time. But you can see Leclerc definitely had the pace over us only a couple laps later, and he's already nearly 5 seconds ahead as Valtteri Bottas sets the fastest lap of the race. So yeah, Mercedes definitely having a weird one with one driver winning the race and one driver retiring. I'm not sure where Bottas is at the moment. I don't know if he's leading. I think he is, but you can see there, Stroll easily through there. That Mercedes power unit is definitely a lot better than our Renault one. And now we have to worry about Mick Schumacher, because he's been using those faster cars coming through as a bit of a tow to get up to the back of us. And we still have like 5 laps left, but you can see we head on to the last lap. Oh, lap 32, but it's going to be our last lap, as Valtteri Bottas now overlaps Schumacher, and he's definitely going to get through on us. You can see we have blue flags, so we have to let him through at some point, or else we will get a penalty. So fuel isn't really a worry anymore as we head through turn 3. Valtteri Bottas is right behind us. We're going to pull over to the right hand side here to make it nice and easy for him there, so that we don't lose too much time to Mick Schumacher. But yeah, that's a bit of a representation for how much we have to work on there here in a 50% race, and Bottas is able to overlap us on the last lap. So yeah, that's a big gap that we're gonna have to work out how to close in, because we brought a lot of upgrades to this weekend and we didn't close in on anyone. In fact, people closed in on us. So yeah, this is a big old tough season. You can see we can't slow down yet, because Mick Schumacher is right behind us. If we make one mistake, I'm sure he'll be ready to pounce. As we head through the last sector now, you can see getting a little bit wayward as we head through that quick left-right section. These hard tyres are very old and very worn about now. And yeah, just trying to gently bring the car home without making any mistakes. As we head through the final chicane here, using all the runoff. We have another blue flag for the McLaren that's closing in. I think that's Daniel Ricciardo in P2, so that's a great result for him. But it's going to be P12 here in Spain.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
So that is it here for the Spanish Grand Prix. You can see Valtteri Bottas taking the win over Daniel Ricciardo, getting it second place in the McLaren, and Sergio Perez there third for Red Bull. You can see us there in P12, the last car to have gotten overlapped there, so only the top 11 finishing on the lead lap. That goes to show how much quicker the front guys are than the rest of the pack. You can see Matsushita unfortunately down there in P20, only beating out George Russell and Lewis Hamilton there, of course, who retired. Yeah, definitely a lot of work for us to do. You can see Sebastian Vettel ended up in P15 there after kind of getting involved in a crash that wasn't really any fault of his own. You can see Sergio Perez, though, taking the lead of the championship with Ricciardo in second, and then Bottas and Hamilton third and fourth with Verstappen in fifth, and there's only 5 points in it between the top 5 there, so really close stuff at the top of the championship. For us, though, we're 15th in the championship there. You can see he's still on 0 points. Only other person that's in front of us with 0 points is Lance Stroll in P14. And of course, this is just sort of all worked out based on where you finished in the non-points paying positions. But in terms of the constructors, we are the leading constructor with 0 points there. You can see in P8 moving ahead of Alfa Romeo. So remember our season objective there from our main sponsor RGB is to finish 10th or better. So we're doing that at the moment, and definitely if we can just score a point or two this season, I think we'll definitely be able to achieve that sponsor objective. But that's really it for all of the results. So moving on now just to the kind of summary and breakdown. You can see we do outscore Nikita Mazepin there in our rivalry. It's now 6-3, getting ourselves another 1,000 acclaim there, which will definitely be helping out ourselves and the team get closer towards that sponsor goal. You can see we move up to driver acclaim 2. Matsushita gets very close to driver acclaim 6. And in terms of team acclaim, we do move up to rank 4 there. So by the looks of things, if we keep following the same trends that we are, we should be rank 5 heading into Monaco next time, which will unlock that extra sponsor slot for us and bringing that much needed cash flow that we need to be making the strides we need. You can see just under $2 million there for our team, 1.98. So yeah, I think we can afford a facility upgrade at this point, but I'm still not too sure. Remember, we do have to be able to afford Matsushita's contract. I think it's in September of this season, but you can see here, getting to choose between +7 driver awareness or +7 racecraft, I think that was. Yes, it is. And I, in the end, decided to go with racecraft. I feel like racecraft will definitely benefit us more in terms of an F2 driver, because I think that's where they struggle the most, kind of with being able to make overtakes and whatnot. As we could see earlier on in the race, Matsushita was kind of caught up in that big pack there. But that is it for us here in this episode. We're going to leave all the admin stuff to the beginning of the next episode. I think that's the format we'll go with, doing all that sort of stuff at the beginning. But yeah, that's it for us. So if you did enjoy, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this. And that is going to be it. So yeah, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.